Hey guys, this is Mike Moo here. This is a general overview and unboxing of the Nikon Keymission 80 and some thoughts that I've had about some of these wearable cameras that have been out for a while. This was actually announced, I believe, back in 2016. It is now 2018, April. And only now, at this point in time, do I consider this to be a reasonably priced product. That's after it probably didn't sell very well. And there's not a whole lot of reviews on there online for at least a year or so. So this I'm really interested in as a wearable camera and as a specific use camera that is for outdoor adventure. And also, since now it's at a much better price point now, please check out my links down below. I bought this off of Amazon and I got it for under $200. So this is waterproof and shockproof. Two very important things when you are looking for an adventure camera. It's definitely something that you want to consider if you're going out on a hiking trip or somewhere where you're afraid you might bust up your cell phone, because this would ideally basically replace the cell phone or supplement the cell phone when you're out, because it's really tiny and small and it's designed to be with you all the time. Okay, so this is really tiny. This box is actually really small. I want to give a little bit of comparison between some other wearable cameras that I currently own and use. This is the autographer, and I'm going to compare this directly with the unit once I take it out. And then here's the narrative clip. This is version 1 narrative clip. Unfortunately, both of these companies are actually out of business right now, or they're waiting to be bought out, or their technology is going to be used elsewhere. So these two are completely out of the market. There's one right now, of course, that I did a review on, which is, I'll go ahead and link that down below. That's actually a product that was priced similarly to this at around $400 at the time of release. But since I got this less than $200, I figure it's worthwhile to take a look at. I did want to try one really early on, and I just didn't want to bite the bullet since there were not many reviews out, and those that were out were kind of lackluster. Okay, so this is the Nikon Keymission 80. There were two other models that introduced with this. There was a 170 model, which is basically like a GoPro. And then there was a 360 model, which is 360 degree type of video camera. So I didn't even really want to consider those because one, I had a GoPro, and two, 360 cameras wise, the best at the time for the price was still the Samsung Galaxy Gear or Gear 360. And right now, if you are interested in getting one, I highly recommend the Insta-1 360 or the Insta360 All right, so here, user manuals, quick start guide, apparently, and then probably some other brochure information. I'm going to take a closer look at this. There are some reviews out right now that actually discuss some of the features of this. And unfortunately, Nikon is not one of those companies that actually releases a lot, or tends to release a lot of new firmwares fixing a lot of things. So it should be pretty interesting to find out what some of the shortcomings other reviewers might have mentioned, and also whether or not there were any new fixes. Probably the only companies in recent years that produce general updates all the time is probably Samsung. Unfortunately, they're no longer in the camera business other than cell phones. And also Fuji. Fuji does a great job of doing that. Okay, so this is actually much smaller than I thought. And, well, I want to say when I earlier thought about it, or when I earlier thought about considering this, this is actually really, really small. I'm going to go ahead and compare this with this guy right here, which is the autographer. And you can see that the autographer is actually taller. A little bit thicker overall with the clip, but probably about the same dimensions, thickness-wise, for a wearable camera. And the autographer is completely plastic, so there's no doubt in my mind that this is not shockproof. I've actually dropped it before and actually went out okay because it's mostly plastic, so it'll continue to work. But obviously, this is not rugged and not something you're going to be used in rainy weather and not designed for such, whereas this in rain, you're not going to have any problem. And actually, this is actually much smaller than I was expecting. Even now, as I hold it, pictures, I suppose, don't do it a whole lot justice. Here's the narrative clip. As you can see, the narrative clip is, of course, much smaller, but is not nearly as capable of producing things. Plus, it doesn't have any screen at all. It just basically does a lot of time-lapse pictures, of which this does have the capability of. But if you really want to go discreet, narrative clip is still the smallest, and from my understanding, it still all works. You can still download the pictures and photos off of your narrative clip. It's just that there's no cloud storage for it right now, or any other intelligent software outside of what was initially provided at release. So this is still another viable option. Unfortunately, it's gotten really expensive now. So in the hand, this feels really good. There's actually some rubber material on here, which makes it a little bit easier to grip. Very hefty feeling lanyard clip here that I presume is going to allow you to attach it to neck strap and stuff. Really nice little small screen. I know that one negative about this is that the battery is non-removable. It is built in. That's good and bad. Good probably because it makes it a little bit cheaper, so you don't have to have the waterproofness on the battery door, and also makes it a little bit slimmer because it's all integrated. Not so good if years down the line, you know, the batteries tend to degrade over time, and it is something that you're just going to have to consider. Battery life is never going to be as good as the first month that you own it, right? So that's always something to consider. I see right off the bat there's NFC here, and you appears to be a speaker over here. This is just a button, probably just for when you take it off quickly to take a picture, easy to snap. This will only work out really well, of course, if you take it out from the cradle. One use case scenario is to attach it to your backpack, and backpack strap, if you're hiking and you want to take a picture, you can unclip it and snap the picture right away and put it back. Something that's not necessarily as easily done or well done on a smartphone. I've seen many instances where people are out and they just want to take a quick picture, take it out, the phone slips, and of course they crack the phone and that's it. So that is not very good. The quality of buttons is fantastic, I gotta say, and then the lever here actually feels really solid, easy to use. I can easily see this being easy to adjust when you have gloves on. So they really thought about that there. And a little mini button down there, another lanyard clip up here, and of course you have their marketing materials attached here about how you're telling your mission, etc. Gives you some information here. High image quality, 25mm f2 Nikon lens, 1080p full HD video. It's waterproof to 1 meter. So I suppose you can just take it surface swimming or snorkeling up to 3.3 feet. So basically you got to be at the surface. Shockproof to 5 feet, which is great because most people are not going to, well, actually people my height, which is around 5'7"-ish, aren't going to have to be worried, or if I hand this over to a kid and let them go ahead and play around with it, you know, my cousins, for instance, I'm not going to have a problem with them playing with it because they're not going to really destroy it. So this is probably good to have a kid. I know someone is asking me somewhere on YouTube or Facebook or Quora about, hey Mike, do you have a recommendation for a camera for kids to run around with? This might be it at the new price point. It really might. It's got built-in Wi-Fi, NFC, and that's pretty much really only to transfer, I believe, images back to your phone, maybe using SnapBridge, and Bluetooth. Interval timer to capture your day hands-free. That is a feature that is probably not as smart as Autographer was, because this also had some interesting algorithms to go ahead and take some pictures throughout days to figure out what was most interesting and also what would turn out to be better pictures. This, of course, is just a dumb set it in a time-lapse type of mode that will take it every couple of seconds. At least that's what I've read. So I'm not sure if this has been updated. We'll find out a little bit later. Looks like there is a quasi-flash light at the top of the unit. It's got an LED over here, which probably gives you a little bit status, or red recording LED. That I'm probably going to block out. The reason why they have to keep that there is because in many countries they are required by law to actually have a blinking light to indicate that it is recording. And some of them actually record sound or have to produce a sound when when you first initial start recording. I know this is true in Japan. And I'm not sure if this is made in Japan. Let's see. It is probably, my guess is made in Malaysia, but I can't, made in China. Okay, so this is a unit made in China. I really think they overpriced it at release, like seriously way overpriced it. So this is really tiny. I like it. This will fit in my pocket. This actually really reminds me of a pocket voice recorder. So if you have a really small pocket voice recorder handy around, you can imagine this is roughly that size, or maybe even a little bit smaller. Now what would be awesome is if the audio quality of this was good. I highly doubt it. You don't see any protruding microphones. They don't advertise it as being really great. So imagine it's just probably going to be at best cell phone quality, which is somewhat unfortunate. Okay. Cards. Believe you stick in a micro SD card down here in this top slot there. It's got a USB port here, and let me take a closer look at this to see what this other port is. You can't figure that out. Maybe it isn't. Maybe it is just one single port. Yeah, it is. Looks like it's just one single port. So micro SD slot there, and also a micro USB. Since the sensor is super tiny here, I'm not going to have really great expectations out of this in low light. It's definitely, I highly doubt it's even going to meet my iPhone 10 picture quality. But you know what? The iPhone 10 was $1,000. This was less than $200, at least right now. So I'm really not going to hold it that much against this, except if it was really still at the $400 price point. Okay, so as far as accessories, we got the micro USB cable, which I believe allows you to transfer. This says it's a 1.5 amp rated, which is pretty interesting. That must mean that the charge rate could be pretty high, so you could be able to charge this up pretty quick, which is good when you're on the go. That's useful. We'll see if that is in fact true. And then we have what appears to be a neck lanyard. Neck or wrist. It could be a wrist. No, this is not. This is purely a Velcro strip. Yeah, Velcro strip. We'll figure out how we're going to best use that a little bit later. This is that all-important cradle that allows you to take advantage of some of the cool capabilities that this has. I hope they allow you to customize it. I don't think so. So basically, you could very well be set. I read some interesting reviews where they stated that when you put this back here, unfortunately, you can't have it continuously record video, which is unfortunate. So you have this, the idea is you have this clipped to your belt or clipped to your backpack strap, and a magnet basically detects that you have it in the cradle. And when that happens, it will only accept a couple of different modes. One is to turn a unit off, and two is to turn it back into its own little time-lapse mode, which someone called a root mode, which is probably, you know, just when you're walking, allows it to go ahead and take some snapshots as you're walking. That's kind of generally how I use a lot of these anyway. Still, it's a little bit disappointing that I can't have this also in here and record video rather than have to take it out of the cradle in order to do. It seems to hold on pretty tightly. I think just about right. Maybe I could have it a little bit tighter. Maybe there could be something to go ahead. It would be better if there was something that would be able to maybe latch down to ensure that this does not fall out in case of really, really rugged activity. Let's say cliff jumping, for instance, or parkour. I don't know. If you're having this on parkour, this might not be the best for you. So you can see it does add tremendously to the thickness of the overall profile. It's also got another area where you can clip and strap things. That's often useful. On top of one here. And this, I guess you just have to loop this. I guess this is exactly what this Velcro is for. So this is perfectly sized for that purpose. And you will then use this to go ahead and attach things, like so, or straps. And we just hold it like that. Keep in mind, I haven't read the user manual, so these are just my first initial impressions and thoughts. Nice hefty AC USB adapter. It is, let's see, let's have a closer look at here. It is 100 to 240 volts, which is good. 12 volts to 18 volts. Output 0.0 something odd amps. Let's see, let's take a close look. Output 5 volts, 1 amp. All right, so this outputs at 5 volts, 1 amp. So basically, if you have a USB, regular USB charger, this will suffice to do the same thing. But this does feel pretty good. This is definitely a quality made product, not some El Cheapo feeling USB 99-cent fake special iPhone charger. Okay, so that's also good to have, and that's all they give you. That's really literally all they give in here. You know, I don't know why I was expecting a little bit more of a product that was, I believe, around $400 at launch. But you know, now at less than $200 price point, shipped with tax and everything, this seems to be a lot better. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and charge this up. Let me know if there is anything you want me to test on here or compare to. If there's anybody still interested in this, probably there is not a lot of people interested in this. But you know, for people like me who like the idea of wearable cameras that allow you to capture a bit more and maybe not necessarily always bring out the camera or the phone with you, you know, this could be something for you. And yeah, so I regularly like to try out products like this. Okay, so please comment down below if there's something you want me to try or test out or compare. And please like this video and subscribe for more. Thank you very much for watching. I will catch you in the next video, and look out for my follow-up video with some sample pictures and footage. I'll have additional links down below, or either down below in the comments or the description details, more about this. And if you are one of the lucky few that got this at a really cheap price, let me know how much you got it for. I know for sure I got this for less than less than $200 total. Probably around the 150-ish or a little bit less. All right, I will catch you in the next video. Thanks for watching.